I think they've won most of those games, however.
They banned Tinker and Lycan are the two most banned heroes with 41% bans, which is not a lot. I mean, they still let him through quite a few times, but also some of those times it's the opponent banning it against them.
5 seconds remaining.
If you give Arteezy a Tinker, you're kind of fighting uphill just from the get-go.
Really? I think Tinker's dropped off quite a lot in terms of this tournament. I don't think Tinker's like a huge problem, and I think people have kind of adapted more. But I definitely, if Tinker gets ahead, you're right. If Arteezy's Tinker gets ahead, then you're screwed. But it's like if you can, kind of subdue the Tinker, it's still definitely a game that DK can take. So
was that not the game that they won in the group stage? Was an Arteezy Tinker that DK beat, I believe?
I think it was a Navi Tinker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh. We'll see Brewmaster banned out as well by DK, so just take out some of these teamfight heroes. Mason's been playing quite a lot of the Brewmaster. They tend to put more Arteezy on the kind of core heroes, the carries for the team, so I think it's a clever ban from DK.
And it's going to be a Skywrath Mage as the last ban for Evil Geniuses before the picks actually start. And DK has 1 pick, while EG after that will have 2 picks. Ben, after a long time of this new pick and ban format being there, do you still think that first pick is stronger than second pick, or getting those 2 picks at the same time give you an advantage?
I think first pick is still stronger, especially if like Skywrath weren't eliminated, they could just go for like a Faceless Void or a Skywrath Faceless Void combo, but Faceless Void isn't that strong. And yeah, I would still say first pick's way stronger, and you don't have to ban Lycan either if you're first pick.
And okay, I guess we have Arteezy's and Universe Heroes
EG win with
straight away.
EG are actually 5-1, so they have a good reason.
The Shadow Shaman gets picked up
hero
first by DK, and currently that 100% win rate hero. We'll see what it can bring to this game. But again, you have quite a bit of a durable hero, I would say, with Razor. It's Arteezy
really
will always push the limits of every team fight, and if you're not focusing Arteezy in those team fights, he can get away with a lot if he ends up picking up the Razor. So Razor tied, instant picks. EG, they must be happy with that.
Yes, absolutely. They're getting the heroes they want. At the same time, I'm kind of sad to see Arteezy playing Razor so much, because he's one of those players like Dandy. They can create plays by themselves, and Razor, not much for mobility.
Death Prophet.
This combo, DK, like 4-0, 5 every time I see him do this, they just get wins. I've seen them down like 10, 15 kills, like losing lanes, and they somehow just brute force their way through your base using this Death Prophet plus Shadow Shaman. It's really tough to fight into.
Are you ready for the Omni?
Yeah, it's an incredibly strong combo, and getting that Shadow Shaman opened up a lot of options to putting a core with it. Death Prophet, with the Shadow Shaman, those tier 1 towers will eventually go down. How do you pick, how do you ban now?
Oh, they have time.
How do you pick against this to be able to defend your towers and stop the momentum?
Well, this is similar to what I think Vici ran against IG2, Shadow Shaman, Death Prophet. You just simply can't fight into those 2 ultimates, so you usually have to get the jump on them.
If they play a support tied, then they should offlane Omni.
Death Prophet before she gets her ultimate off, but usually they'll just pop it preemptively. Who cares if it's like last 15 seconds in a fight as opposed to like 17, as long as you have it already down. Timing isn't of the utmost importance, so...
The most important thing about getting Shadow Shaman and Death Prophet is that these 2 heroes, together with Pugna, are the heroes that bring push that cannot be stopped by spells. If you get Eidolons, if you get Nature's Prophet Treants, you can always wave spam them so that you can stop them. But the Exorcism Spirits will not stop unless you kill the Death Prophet. And the wards, you have to kill them by right-clicking them. And even things like Luna's Glaives don't work on wards.
I always have a feeling when you're up against a Shadow Shaman Death Prophet, or something that wants to push into your towers, you need to be able to initiate on them in your favor. And it almost feels like your safe lane farmer, could need like a Blink Dagger and actually just lead the charge. And that kind of opens up, maybe a safe lane centaur as an option. It's tough to do, but it's definitely a hard draft now, I would say, for Evil Geniuses PPD. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes as we take the final ban of Evil Geniuses.
And it's really difficult to, you can't even counter it with BKBs is the big problem. Usually like, oh, okay, we're BKB, we have 10 seconds, we can do whatever we want. But these 2 heroes, if you have pop BKB and nothing else, you'll die.
Yeah. But DK, I feel they're very tough right now, because they will... They're on the dire side. Like, just throw that out there.
I love our line.
It's an Ursa pick.
As long as that Ursa's getting farmed, you want to kill the Death Prophet as quickly as possible, even through the ultimate. And Ursa, if he can get on a target, that will shut someone down in the team fight. So
you do still feel that if you get a Ghost Scepter on the Death Prophet, she's going to be pretty safe from the Razor and the Ursa.
Even armor's, good.
You can still drain.
Decide to if you want to tank up in another way. So
when she's used and goes
Void going to be banned out for Evil Geniuses. They don't want to sit in a chrono while the Death Prophet goes to work. And now we go over to DK for their pick. And I'm sure they're slightly surprised that the Ursa coming in here.
I think they kind of want to try to get a good counter initiate. Like if Ursa goes in, and you need a good way to deal with him. That's where something like an Earthshaker is your kind of secondary support. Fits well with the Shadow Shaman. You don't want to really reveal too much about what you want to do here. You can go for that backup plan of getting burning a hard carry, but I think after this Ursa pick, you want to just try and play it safe, play it stable for now.
Okay, now I really want to see the Earthshaker just as we knew we had in the previous game, because you look at the Ursa, you look at the Razor, are heroes that rely on sticking next to you. They want that static link to get max duration. Ursa needs to hit you. Earthshaker with some good blocks. They cannot initiate of you, they cannot stay next to you, and they can save you from Shadow Shaman Death Prophet. Oh wow, and it's an Invoker.
Ice Invoker potentially coming out.
You do make a good point with the Ghost Scepters, though, and the Pugnant Decrepify would also work wonders against EG's lineup. They really don't have that much magical damage at all. Invoker, a hero that was actually shunned for the first part of the qualifiers, but made a resurgence in the last part. This hero is still incredibly strong.
Adds a little bit more to the push as well if you want to. But yeah, the Earthshaker I think is really a good pickup here. It's not only the fact that you want to push towers, it's also when you're done pushing towers, you need to also disengage a lot of the times. Teams don't want to give you free towers, so the EG can't absolutely defend a tower. They might want to try and pick a few people off, and Earthshaker allows good blocks, and also with the disruption, as you mentioned, Bruno, that would be pretty difficult for the Razor and Ursa to potentially chase. So those BKBs will have to be up on the side of Evil Geniuses, but the Invoker pickup,
it's going to
followed by a Treant.
It's actually okay. I mean, remember, Ursa is going to go for a BKB. Overgrowth go through BKB. It makes sure that the Ursa will always take in place, or at least bait the BKB so that you can disengage.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm not sure. Do you know if Overgrowth disables Blink Dagger? It doesn't. I mean, you can't blink while you are Overgrowth, but if you BKB, you can blink away.
Yeah, it does make damage, so.
Yeah.
I like the Train Protector pick here. You really need something to protect Death Prophet, and without a big combo breaker like Tidehunter or Earthshaker, just having preemptive living armor on her is usually good enough and enough to dissuade the other tower and just give up a free T1 or T2 for the most part. So we could potentially see a very early push, high ground push.
The other thing with the Train Protector is you probably going to have to fight early. This Enchantress Ursa, we saw a game in the group stage where Fnatic did this. They took a super early Roshan with it. They didn't go like level 1 Rosh, they got like level 2, level 3, smoked into the Roshan pit. If you want to contest that, you need good early fighting heroes. Treant with lead seed, boots early on, can actually kind of engage and fight into that. You can kite the Ursa around slightly, and with Sunstrikes flying in as well, it does give DK a very strong early game with their support duo.
I don't think I've ever seen Mason play Ursa though, have you?
No,
it's not really a big EG have run that much, but I think they needed to mix it up. I think DK were ready for the Tide Razor pick, and EG were not expecting a Shadow Shaman first pick. They were probably expecting DK to go for the Doom, which is actually still in the pool. Doom has not been touched, is probably the most surprising part of this draft.
Do you think Invoker is going to go for Exort Invoker and just relying on the Shackles to get kills, or do you think you just go full team fight and go close wax?
Well, you know, it's not necessarily an Ice Invoker. DK have put Burning on a safe lane Exort Invoker a few times. That's the way most teams are playing him nowadays. If you look at IG, even DK, teams do this safe lane Exort Invoker where you rush your Necro 3, minus Necro 3, you push down towers with Forward Spirits, and I think that's where DK want to go. All in push, Death Prophet, Shadow Shaman, Invoker, to try and stop us if you're EG.
Piranha being picked up by Evil Geniuses as their final pick. Ben, does that make sense for you? What does it offer to the lineup?
Well, firstly, I don't really know what Mason's going to play. If he's going to play the Mirana or Ursa, he's most likely playing the Ursa, but Mirana with Enchantress, that's not your ideal roaming duo. Usually you want a Shadow Demon or a Bane. Those are by far the most common partners. You can even use something like Rubik or a Sand King to set up with a stun, but it's just kind of like a support Mirana just thrown in the mix, kind of like we saw that.
Support Tide, like we saw earlier, and put Mason on the Mirana even? Like,
yeah, support Tide is really weak though, as we witnessed.
Yeah.
All right, well, final pick's going to be Weaver completing the lineup for DK. So, guys, for your next MMR, who's going to come out strong stronger in the first game and why? And Gods, you're currently winning with 5,050 MMR. Ben, Bruno, you're at 4950.
DK, they have Shadow Shaman.
I have to go with DK again. I just worry how you're going to stop this push. Unless EG dominate the first 10 minutes of this game, I think they have no answer to the push. But
I think DK. I think EG's not going to get enough out of the Ursa pick. They might get one Roshan, but don't think they'll get that many more.
Well, you guys seem very concerned for Evil Geniuses going into game number 1, but maybe they know something we don't. You know, this is a game they prepared for, and they should have been prepared for. So, you know, they had their very easy start with the Razor and the Tide, and then from there, you know, Ursa, we'll see how that works out, but definitely the Mirana, a bit of a surprise pick to go around with the Enchantress. But again, we're going to be moving on into this game then. The second semi-finals of today. Let's send it over to the commentators as the players load in.
Thank you very much. We are here to commentate your matchup. DK versus EG. I'm Toby1, joined by Synderen. And man, we got one hell of a game to start with.
Yeah, this is one of the most anticipated games, I think, for a lot of people. EG and DK have both been doing very well in the tournament. The last time they met was actually very close to the end of the group stage, and DK ended up taking that. So I can imagine EG are hungry for some revenge here.
They might actually get something right now.
Getting right into it here.
Slowed down. The static link is on. The arrow from Mason will connect. And Lanham, he's already in trouble. But he leveled Nation. Guys, it's the first level, but there's a static link putting a big lightning hole on Lanham's butt. But they push him back out. And he remains invis, gets a ward down, but this means no leech seat, no living armor from the very, very start, but no first blood EG's way.
That was a pretty interesting play here. Being forced to level Nature's guys first, I guess he's just really happy they didn't have any detection. It's actually two things that happen right here. First of all, it keeps him alive, and secondly, it tells DK, okay, if there's no sentries on EG's side, we can actually successfully block their jungle unless they can buy them somewhere, but I don't think any of EG's heroes actually have the gold for sentry wards right now, so Enchantress might be up to a little rough start.
Universe. Universe has like 290 right now, so he's got something in the kitty.
Okay, the offlaner could technically buy them, but you generally wouldn't want to do that with a dire offlane side. So yeah, actually, let's just have a look at the lanes right away. So for Team Evil Geniuses in the offlane, as we just mentioned, it is going to be Universe playing on the Tide Hunter towards mid lane. Arteezy will be playing as Razor, and then finally in the safe lane, tri-lane, I guess we can call it for EG, it's going to be Zai on Ursa, PPD on Enchantress, and finally Mason on the Mirana. So at position 4 Ursa, this is very strange.
It's kind of hilarious that they're doing this up against DK, a hero which they banned away from DK, which was the Juggernaut, where they did something very similar. You get these very powerful melee heroes coming out in the early stages, but you run them as supports.
Oh, bottom lane Universe is actually getting opened on right here. I don't think they have the damage for now, but great harassment coming in from DK. Invoker, pretty weak hero on level 1.
Yeah,
attack.
You try and look for the control out for him as well. Like we go first level Exort. Even if he had the second level, it would just be a Sunstrike, and that wouldn't be enough damage. And they're power leveling Zai inside the jungle too. So you've done a double stack using a tornado to go to work, and Zai's going to get some really, really quick levels here. Now, I'm interested to see how they're going to try and capitalize on the Ursa. Do they just try and get him a Morbid Mask very early on and send him into the Roshan pit all the time? Lanham's being a bit of a nuisance as well to PPD. He's staying invis and right on the tail of this Enchantress. They need sentry wards for here.
It's a big problem for EG if Lanham manages to steal a lot of the stack experience from the second stack as well. There's actually still the Centaur here, but great play here from Lanham so far to, if nothing else, then scout them out. So, like you said, what EG... Oh my goodness. They tried to smoke and it immediately gets countered by Lanham. He's also going to sentry the big camp, so really not the start EG were looking for. They actually wanted to probably go for Roche already since they have 2 Centaurs in the Ursa on level 2, and they might still try for it, but Lanham spotting out the smoke there might know they're up to something.
It's going to be really difficult to do this. Like, you don't have lifesteal. As you said, like 2 Centaurs, so you can split the attack damage between them, but at the same time, actually, no, who from DK is going to look for this? You could invoke Sunstrike from Ice, and then have a bit of a look inside the pit. That's one way to do it, but are you really going to go down there and contest what is technically 2 supports of EG from going for Roshan?
I guess not. I mean, the one hero that could really get a lot of work done right here would be for just sneaking in and spotting it out, maybe even stealing the Aegis, but
Look at our team.
DK are not ready for this. It's going to be a close shot. 2.5 minutes in for Team Evil Geniuses, and now level 4 Ursa. And my concern with this is, if you're playing a position 4 Ursa, which I think I've never seen in a competitive game before, or at least it's very, very rare, and you're playing against a pushing lineup, if this kind of Roshan does not work out for you, like the panel said, who's going to actually stop the push lineup that DK are running? But if they get a head start like this with a very farmed Ursa, he could very quickly get maybe a blink BKB and just run in and try to counter out the Death Prophet.
Even more beyond that, like you're actually power leveling technically at Enchantress, so you're going to bring Impetus to the light of day a lot earlier than you normally would. And what are you really trading off here? You have Mason, who's having a rather difficult time up on top lane up against Burning, because Burning is like he's 19 for 6 right now up against a Mason who's 8 for 0. And Mason is taking so much harassment objection, maybe a little bit too much right now. He's still got Leap available, but the attack's coming in. Sunstrike from Ice. Feels it coming and backed himself away from the sun.
And that would have actually been a kill. It would have dealt 10 more damage than he had in health. So Mason with a very clutch dodge there. So avoids the first blood, and like you said, it's going pretty well for EG, of course, because of the Roshan, but the Mirana not getting too much still. When you have an Ursa who's farming the jungle, I guess you're not too concerned about your position 1 hero being sacrificed a little bit. I guess the most essential thing for EG's lineup, to defend against DK's early push is to get the level 6 on the Tidehunter. Whereas for DK, well, what are we looking at? Good farm on Weaver. Mid lane, Mushi is...
They're making space.
They're
making space. Sai and PPD, look at them. They're ready to go. MMY's coming up for a root check, and PPD's going to slow him down. Sai is looking for the first blood for EG. There goes your clapper. Look and slice it. They have to hold him there for a while, but it won't be enough time for MMY to survive. First blood goes to Evil Geniuses. Zai's going to get harassed by Ice with the Sunstrike. Cold Snap Zai, so low! He's got enough life points. He's still got the Aegis Immortal as well to keep that in mind, but he does not want to burn this early on.
I think he's going to be really happy to hold on to that Aegis for now. It might give them the opportunity to actually go for an opening here. Knowing that Cold Snap is on cooldown for a little while longer and Ice is generally low on mana, they might try for something in bottom, or they go for a rotation in towards the mid, maybe healing him up here with PPD.
Considering you have an Enchantress who is now basically laid claim to the Radiant side jungle, you probably want to try and force something in the bottom lane. Ice, an Invoker, not the greatest counter pusher there in the world, and if he does get close up against the Ursa, maybe just having a spare point up in Wex to have that Invis, maybe useful. But then again, look at Zai. He's walking around with dust. He's prepared to gank up probably Razor or Tree, not Razor, the Weaver or the Tree. Maybe then it would also work up against Ice. It's being a bit of a nuisance with the force.
One thing I want to point out, though, is looking at the Golden experience. Generally, if we see teams doing level 1 Roshan, this wasn't level 1, it was 2.5 minutes in, but very early Roshans, you'd often look at a bigger lead than this. So I think all things considered for DK, they're actually not too far behind. 1,500 experience and 750 gold isn't really the end of the world. But it's more about the implications it has for the rest of the game, where you can see EG are actually playing really aggressively here in the mid lane. Arteezy will be draining out a little bit with a link, but they're pressuring the tower. They know they can use the Aegis here on Zai. The question is, what trade-off do DK get? Good harassment on Mason up top from Burning. He's dominating that lane really heavily here.
I think DK understand the fact that they can't really take these fights until that Shadow Shaman comes up in higher levels. And of course, on bottom lane too, the fact you've got Universe, he's not level 6 just yet, but got to keep in mind that when that Ravage is up and running, EG really hit a big moment, and now Lanham, he's in trouble. The dust will pop off here from Zai, and Lanham, one more hit from Zai, he's in range and he gets it. 2-0 for the face-booting Ursa, who's now up to level 6 as well.
6 minutes in.
Not too shabby for 4th position.
Yeah, the pocket strategy so far is, I guess we have to call this out of EG, or at least part of it is pretty much a pocket strategy here. It's working out wonderfully so far. Zai is getting a lot out of it. PPD almost level 5, which is around the
This is going to be bad for Mushi. Arteezy's got a haste rune coming into middle lane, and Mushi can't outrun this, which means all the damage is being given over to Arteezy. That living armor will not protect him from this. One more attack, MMY holds him in with the shackle.
Now he is in trouble.
He might be able to pick up 2 kills here. Platterfield can't reach on Mushi, but it's Arteezy. Sunstride's coming in with the attack from the tower. It's enough to get a revenge kill in for DK. They go 3-1 now on the board, 7 minutes in.
Fortunately for Arteezy there, he actually died to the tower shot before the Sunstrike, so no experience being claimed there by DK, and very important for EG here that Ice does not get that kill. If he gets that, he's up to level 7.5, and now he's a little bit short of 7, and they also secure themselves the tower in the mid lane with Enchantress, so once again, good move by EG, but not building that big of a lead, actually. I'm still a little bit surprised it's not more than this at this point.
I'm kind of okay with this one. They've taken out a tier 1 tower in the middle lane. They were looking for some rotations. Their primary thing here probably wasn't just winning on golden experience, because you know you're still going up against a Dream Protector. Taking off right away. Yeah, they're going to commit Ravage as well. This one, he just used Shikuchi. 5 seconds on cooldown for that one now. They see him on the side. Zai really low in life, but he kind of wants the Aegis to go. But yeah, he walks around the tree line and away to safety.
Really important from Burning to not get caught there. He is kind of the big farmer for the team right now. What a surprise. Burning having the highest CS. So let's say EG continue like this and they keep gaining an advantage. My main concern for their lineup is, we talked about how they're going to struggle with dealing with the push. I want to say that's one thing, but the other thing is, what counters do you really have to the Weaver? He's getting great farm. You don't have any sort of significant lockdown apart from if you land an amazing arrow from Mason or the Ravage. There's no other counter to Weaver. That hero kind of goes in my book of heroes you need to counter pick.
Yeah.
Because with no silence, no reliable stun, etc., Weaver just tends to take over the game when you get into that 25-30 minute territory.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one too, but at the same time, with the EG lineup, they could just play full stay ability and just play man mode. Like, if you can get rid of that Crop ulti very early on, the Mass Open ward's aren't a major problem for you, then Weaver just running around is not going to be a huge problem, because you can still have the Lightning Rod, you can still have Razor in the middle. Up on top lane, by the way, they're going to have another crack at this. So Zai prepping himself to battle, Burning still got Shikuchi in time-lapse, and Mason, he's basically got 100% hit this arrow to kill off Burning. With the support coming in from PPD, he's got double status, so double nukes, but no control.
That's pretty much the problem right there. It's just got illustrated. They can't really deal with the Weaver.
I'm kind of waiting for like the Blink Dagger from Zai, so then there's something, but like not killing the Weaver, killing Crop or killing someone like that.
It's what EG need to aim to do. I mean, it's great that they've got an early lead, but they need to get some sort of towers out of it. They got the mid-tier 1, which was a great start, but I think they realized that they need to put a little bit more pressure on DK here, since DK are getting the way better farm. So they're trying to push down the top tower a little bit here. Ursa is a pretty good tower pusher with overpower as well as enrage, dealing quite significant damage to the buildings.
Radiant's
but
top tower is under
it's got
attack.
living armor. They have to bring it down in one go, and I think they know it as well. But I do not expect EG to get away with this. So
they won't.
At the end of the day, time wasted, basically.
Yeah, Mushi even came up towards the top lane. Maybe this is a little bit more of a different time wasted. They committed Mushi up towards the top lane, which was never really going to get there. But
on bottom lane, Universe is going. He's going to unload the Ravage right here. Easy kill on him and one.
Yeah, but that's the only one they're going to get. They actually committed all 3 cores to come down to that bottom lane to get the kill. And all they got was the Shadow Shaman.
And this is when DK's lineup can actually start playing a kind of split push style, which when you have a Death Prophet to push out the waves really quickly, a Weaver to push out the waves quickly, and an Invoker with double Forge Spirit coming in soon, EG have a lineup that's like tailored to take these, I don't want to say directly 5-on-5 team fights, but mainly skirmishes where at least 3 heroes are involved. Unless Ursa gets a Blink Dagger, like you said, maybe he can open alone. So the problem is, if DK starts split pushing all the lanes, how are EG going to deal with it with their draft here?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
There's not much way apart from forcing it. That's the only thing you can really do. But
do you want to force into that?
Well, actually, I think it'll be okay for now, because you're still looking at a Weaver who's going ahead of Midas build. So he's not really going to come online very, very early on. So because of this, in fact now he has the hand of Midas, he's still going to take a little bit more time before he's up and running. So Mushi is doing exactly what he needs to do. Add pressure towards the mid tower and force the attention of evil geniuses towards him and away from the off-lane Weaver.
And in addition to that, DK absolutely need to get a level 6 in the Shadow Shaman. I think that's the reason right now that they haven't taken a single tower. We saw it in the previous series how useful those Mass Serpent wards are. And if there's one thing EG have accomplished in this game, it's holding down the supports of DK. Neither support is level 6, 11.5 minutes in. MMY, as a matter of fact, only level 4. He's going to grab level 5 now in the mid lane, but actually even needs to be careful in here. He doesn't even dare to go towards the lane, since Mason is trying to flank him here, as he saw with the ward. So the supports from DK really falling behind. The cores are doing great, and the question is, can EG hit the, there's kind of a sweet spot here where they might be able to take advantage of that, but once the support levels come up on DK, I'm having a very hard time seeing EG running that force fight you were talking about.
The trees are moving right behind the Mirana, stalking the lovely lady, and now down on the plane on the right side. Sunstrike, gold snap. Arteezy is almost going down to this one. He's taking a lot of damage to Starfall, get the kill, but Lanham comes out of nowhere. Arteezy, he can't hit him fast enough. Arteezy is away to
Dire's
safety.
middle tower
While all
has
these
fallen.
kills are going on too, Roshan is being
Radiant
attempted by
structures
Zai.
are
Now Mookie
fortified.
has scoured this one out. He's an
Radiant's
ulti up in
bottom
14
tower
seconds
is
time.
under
You'll see
attack.
Roshan's in half-life here. And also know 12 minutes in, the second Roshan's
Dire's
available.
top tower
tower
has
denied by
been
Universe.
denied.
Burning can do nothing to stop that one, as Universe also TPs himself away to safety.
So all in all, the trade-off here, DK lose Invoker, they get 2 towers, of which one gets denied. I would say that's an even trade if EG managed to get the Roshan, but it's not just about, like you said, the golden experience, the map control. When the towers start falling for EG, it gets a little more scary to move around the map, and DK with this great ability to just keep pressuring the lanes, I'm having a hard time seeing EG getting in and getting the Roshan for
Dire's
free again.
bottom
They
tower
might
is
actually
under
be able
attack.
to do it right now, but
EG's got to fight
is
right
it
now.
really for free then, though?
EG's got to fight. They're actually using Moonlight Shadow, but they're going to realize there's a crop illusion in here, so they can't take out Roshan straight away. They need that crop illusion. I'm out 30 seconds on it, so they say, screw it. Kill it straight away.
Quite a bit of lag.
Pause to think about it. Yep. So we'll just have ourselves a moment. You can see the pressure, like, they smoked up, and instantly thought, okay, well, there's 2 TPs, or there's 1 TP coming to the bottom lane to support the hero on EG. And then 3 heroes that were looking to come down through the enemy jungle. And we could have actually had ourselves a full engagement on bottom lane. But I was still wondering who would be on top of that one. Because all the way up on the top lane, you've still got burning free farming as this Weaver. And what time are we looking at for this? Do we go Lincoln Sphere into whatever damage item we want, more than likely Desolator? When are we going to hit that one? With a hand minus and he's already 750 gold in. You're probably looking at maybe a 19 to 20 minute Lincoln Sphere being fully done.
It's pretty underwhelming in this game though when we look at Team EG. So the biggest problem that they have to deal with is the Mirana arrow, which can hit the Weaver. And then apart from that, well, what is there? The static link, like the Lincolns, which yes, it's annoying for Weaver, but he's generally pretty mobile, so he can get out of there.
Yep.
So I don't think Lincoln Sphere is actually the right call for being here. He might still get it, just perseverance, being able to push lanes constantly, feeling a little bit more safe against a couple of things. But overall, I would probably seeing a BKB into straight damage build, BKB dead perhaps in this particular matchup, and then again, EG do. When we get to that point when he can freely move around the fights, I think they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I'm still with you on that one, which means like, okay, EG then has to push earlier. They need to get the towers down. Like, we need to have that Maelstrom from Mjolnir over on Mason. We need to be seeing the Enchantress coming in with a full army of the undead, as well as every possibly Munta out of the jungle as well, and forcing out these early towers. Do you then think, okay, you'll see more or less the way to do this? We get this one player like, I don't know, would Arteezy even take this, or do you want it into Mason once he's got the damage shield and power? And then you fall off the towers. You let the Aegis Immortal burn it, but mainly as a soaked-up ability. I think it may even be better for an Ursa. Ursa is capable of bodying Link Dagger at some point. You just have that Ursa jump in and use it almost like a wrist kick. There's obviously no massive flow when you come out, but the amount of damage you can react onto DK when you first initiate, it may just be enough to split DK out, force out major ability, force to use for hair as well as his shadow control, and that'll give freedom Mason, as well as obviously Mr. Unread just flying under the radar in there, and dishing out a lot of damage and a lot of control.
I would definitely say the timing for EG needs to revolve around Blink Daggers. We've got Idle with the 2100 gold. He has to choose between mech and Link right now, and I think with the type of lineup EG running is a burst.
Yes.
You want to run it, you want to blink, instantly get a kill, and maybe transition from that. If you get the Death Prophet in particular early on,
yes,
you might be able to take advantage of that. I think if you go for mech here, first of all, I would probably build for it. Instead of just completely one-shotting it, so I'm imagining you might be getting the mech on the Razor here instead, but Arteezy does Drum. So Drum into mech is an ineffective way to build up Razor. It's very posty, it doesn't have any
This looks like just a straight Blink Dagger from the Giant Hunter. Maybe they could even put the mech over, and the Ursa still needs it.
Yes.
You couldn't build the mech over on the Ursa.
Considering that he also has a pretty small mana pool for that, so
yeah,
really the ideal hero for it, but
I'm really surprised we haven't even started that. Like, there's the only thing which we can use is that someone might possibly be building a mech is the fact you have 3 branches on the field separated from PvD, Universe, and Side. It's the only combination you can look at right now would make you think something like that.
Yeah. What are we looking at for DK? So we've got Ice building into an Orchid, so I guess he wants to just counter out the side. A great way of dealing with Ty is having 0 damage or balance, just so you can ignore him. You lock him and then you don't attack him, so Kraken should don't prop. So when he gets that Orchid on the Invoker, that's going to be a great pickup for him. Weaver with 800 gold could be anything. I'm still imagining the BKB build could come out. And well, what else is there? Skills and Death Prophet, but yeah.
Something else that will be there is possibly the also we'll go back to James Crew and just find out what their thoughts are of the game's fun.
Thank you, Turkey. Welcome back to the panel. So we're 13 minutes in with a pause. What's the story for you guys so far?
Well, that level 2 rush, as you were speaking, was crucial, but David,
We?
Yeah, we.
Okay.
Myself, David. I don't think it is such an advantage.
It's a cool got a nice couple of kills early on their aims as well, but it's not really enough lead for me. Tinder was talking a lot about it. He came looking at the graphics like, whoa, DG aren't really ahead. When you see like Zerg and you get a decent sized experience in gold, they don't really have the fallback plan. I haven't got that given the fact that Weaver, Death Prophet both being online. DK supports are a bit higher level. I think DK would have taken countless towers by now. They already got the first couple of tier 1 towers. And those next few towers will drop very fast to a Death Prophet plus Shadow Shaman. So I feel it's only a matter of time until EG to start losing towers. They're going to try to go, I imagine, for a rush link here on the Tide Hunter, just 50 gold away from it so they can actually engage the push, try to engage before the season comes out, before the servants come out, but there's no real guarantees there.
No.
Still concerned for EG, and you were on the draft as well. But yeah, they got 2 minuses over on the side of DK, and surely they're going to be kicking in on the Invoker and Weaver. Is that going to be a factor in Swan Ben?
I think they're going to have a lot more impact in the Ursa this game. I think Gods and I casted a game where this exact same thing happened. There's Enchanters, there's an Ursa on Dire side, you can Roshan at Breathless, and then really what can you do after that? And Ursa's a really poor hero. You can't get Roshan. Get Roshan is expected, kind of like Lycanthrope. And what does it really offer to this? I mean, he has some burst. They have so much control in a fight with Invoker. Immediate Cold Snap as soon as Ursa goes in, Hacked as soon as he goes in too. So they control him pretty well. And the team fight is really like, well, they do need that Blink Dagger on Titan.
Exactly. You look at is a big team fight, but you look at DK, they have just continual stuns and lockdown. Like Shadow Shaman with Head Shackles, they've got the Death Prophet spells, they've got Overgrowth, they've got Invoker with a whole array of spells. I think that's DK have a big income team fight. I think they're going to just try to chuck the just onto easy on the race and just try and snowball from there, take tower after tower themselves. Like DK's coming soon and do something about that.
And the problem that they had is because they went with this Ursa and Enchantress duo, the other solo lanes will be slightly more vulnerable while you're doing that. And if you look at the matchups, Death Prophet versus Razor, Death Prophet stop Razor, but Razor cannot stop Death Prophet, so Death Prophet is going to farm. And the Weaver there, he could do whatever he wanted. So you need to do for both strats like this, when you have solo lanes that can pair off pretty well, and they can do well with other support. But support, instead of jungling or instead of getting some advantage somewhere else, you're getting it by doing motion and you do not pay for that. In this case, it's not even costing EG way too much.
So the potential definitely could be in DK's for a little bit longer. You've got the Shadow Shaman hacked, and you've of course got the Invoker that can roam around with him. And then, you know, we have to look at Mace. He's now on the Mirana. He doesn't have a huge amount of fun, but the arrows are going to have to be overly important into the match. Because you say you don't have lockdown, you will when you get your link on your expansion and you get the Ravage, but is it safe to, you know, rely on a bit of RNG, a little bit of arrow?
I think you have to. For EG's team fight, they have to kill someone either on like a rabbit with double blink with Ursa and Tide Hunter, or a really long duration arrow from EG. So yeah, you kind of have to rely on it.
It's always a bit of a worry that the arrow initiation is going to be so much a part of that team fight. Like, you hit someone with an arrow, Ursa can then follow it up with a blinking and burst someone down. But without that, all they can do is have Raze on the front lines, really tanky. He has fruit, so no mech start yet for EG. All of the other worry that really threats, they actually got the mech advantage. Neither to the mech. EG could have gone for that early on the Raze because they was the wrong call. That drum is really nice here, especially because there are lots of Icy Ordinance provide a lot. But it is what something kind of missing their team fight right now.
If EG decide that they need to put on the pressure, you guys. And they get tier 2 towers, and they've got 1 tier 1 to get on the top. How ready will DK be by that time?
They've got 2 Midas, so I think DK will feel like they're just going to look to stall. Like they've been doing so far. They have burning up and top, continuing to split push, apply pressure across. EG are going to commit 5 heroes within inches at a tier 2 tower. You maybe have your Death Prophet there sitting next to Cryptons, but you're not actually looking to engage and take a fight there. Your Weaver's just off. You've got 2 Midas. There's no real reason to take a bad engage when you can trade towers with that lineup they have.
These fights, I'm assuming, we're going to have to go really well for EG when they get to the tier 2 towers, just because they engage.
Yeah, I mean, you have the so much follow-up potential again. If the Weaver is there, she will chase you until the end of eternity. Death Prophet, the same. Invoker, Sunstrikes.
Well, even DP when she gets her Yules.
Right.
You know, you normally use it, you think of DP with Yules, you're like, okay, this is an added amount of survivability. You know, it's great for the mana regen, amazing for the movement speed. And, you know, it can maybe stop the Ursa from locking you down. But even on the chase, if the fight doesn't go well for Evil Geniuses on the tier 2 tower, Death Prophet can potentially be an additional kind of chaser to get a kill, just because you can Yule someone up and then everyone can get into position. As long as your Shadow Shaman's there with a Hex or a Shackle, that's another kill. So it's going to get really close, I would say, in terms of how this is going to go. Because if EG can take those tier 2 towers and take good engagements, they can still, I think, roll with this.
Yeah, I think so as well. And RTZ thinks that they can keep rolling with the game right now because everyone seems to be ready.
All right, game still paused, and there's Evil Geniuses that are asking to go.
How do you like the new emoticons, guys?
They're fantastic, and they're being used by many of the Evil Geniuses team. Right now, you don't get to see it on screen, but if you're watching in Dota TV, I'm sure you can see that, and thank you for everybody for joining us in Dota TV. If you weren't able to get down to the Key Arena, there's over 300,000 people watching this game live, and lots riding on it. It's the first game in the series. You want that momentum. Evil Geniuses have come out with definitely a pre-prepared plan. And it started off okay, but you guys do seem somewhat concerned.
I'm concerned. I don't think EG are out of it by any means. Like I feel DK are in a slightly stronger position. It's also because they have like the safer, more conventional draft. With EG, it's kind of an unknown factor. I think they still have lots of ways to win this game. They grab an Aegis, they catch DK out, win a fight or two here or there, and suddenly their lineup snowball. And you have an Ursa who's not going to be a support. Zaya's going to be playing kind of almost like a core hero in this game. More so than like your Tide. Your Tide gets his Blink Dagger, he's just going to be initiating, maybe work his way towards a mech as well, but there's definitely capabilities for EG to still win this game. It's at most, like I would say, a 60-40 advantage for DK right now.
DK just has a lot more ease of execution. They can drop Rasa Wars, they have Death Prophet Ultimate, they have Invoker, Forge Spears, and then EG has to initiate on them. And if they don't kill like Burning, let's say they double Ravage and they blink in with Ursa, and then someone counters with a Blink Hex or even a Yules on the Ursa, and then he time lapses, the team fight's over from there. So there's also like the Death Prophet with her Yules and Silence. She could potentially act in the role of Skywrath Mage and Yules and Silence Tidehunter as he blinks in. That could be a potentially big play coming out from Death Prophet.
Definitely a lot riding on the Universe's Tidehunter in the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes. We'll have to see how those Ravages go. So well, that's what we think here at the panel, but we're going to send it back over to the commentators. Maybe they've got some more thoughts as we get ready to go back into the match.
Well, Sidney, I don't know about you, but my thoughts are going to be, I hope these guys can keep their momentum, their focus after what is an unfortunate break. Well, the break is over, the game is restarting, and we're back in again. So to bring everybody back up to speed, EG started up on the Rochelle, the Crop Illusion was looking for it, but DK looked like they want to have not a single bar of trying to stop this. They just look for their trade-offs on the different rates.
Yeah, at this point, they probably know that Roshan is going on since they did scout it before, and they're going to drop a Sunstreak here as well, and I think the clear goal for now is to either avoid fights directly or take trades. Even if they sacrifice a tower or two against EG, that's just going to level up the game pretty much in terms of map control. And as long as their Weaver is free farming, which cannot really be prevented by any single hero in EG, it can be prevented by 2 once Ursa gets a Blink Dagger, then they can burst down Burning. But until that point, he's going to be free farming very nicely in the safe, or sorry, in the off lane. So DK, they'll just be trying to hold their ground for now, and with a Treant Protector, they might just be able to for a bit.
Yeah, they might be able to, which
There's
means
a big item.
EG's going to force even harder. Talking about the double blink as well as the Huel Scepter. So EG's got to come the way to get themselves really into position, but Mushi has got not only the movement speed, the regeneration, but everything else. And you're right, MMY on the top lane, Shackles will start not easy. The Shackles is strike as well, and Lanaman for lead speed now. Drunk punch being popped off. MMY actually going to go down here. That's easy. He didn't feel any kind of extra damage from the oh, now Ubers with the Ravage! He keeps Arteezy alive! The one charge just came off cooldown in time. And Arteezy actually gets a double kill out of that. Underrated. I think not. Universe, the clutch player there.
Great counterplay coming out of Universe there. Perfect timing on the
Mushi, and again in middle lane, Zai was chasing him down. He started up with the swipes, but he couldn't go into the ultimate. But you can see him trying to keep his distance. In 2 seconds, he can blink back into this one, and he wants to. Mushi, they checked the corners, but the wrong one. He TP's out to safety
and managed to get a tower as well. This was exactly what EG was looking for. A tower as well as 2 kills at the trade of absolutely nothing. They've got to be feeling happy about this right now. The score is a little bit misleading in terms of overall goal. It's still a very even game, but EG with those couple of kills as well as Roshan have managed to build themselves a quite significant experience advantage. The graph looks a little bit weird because of the long pause, so the teams weren't playing completely evenly for like 6 or 7 minutes, but well, at this point, 7-1 the score for EG. They're getting a little bit of map pressure out in the bottom lane, but in the top lane, DK are pushing the other way.
Man, look how well this is working between Lanham as well as MMY. You have Overgrowth when you got Mana for it, which is still short of arcane boots for Lanham, but is seeing
I've seen this before.
Yeah, round 2, but this time there is not going to be a Ravage to save him, but he's really close to his tier 2 tower. The Nature's Guide was allowing MMY as well as Lanham to come in as close as they are. You don't need this Blink Dagger on the Shadow Shaman, because you get one trap. And Zai! He tears him apart! Arteezy will die here, pulling out the damage from Burning. He's just trying to right-click him, but Zai getting himself a double kill over towards Lanham as well. In fact, the Titans are coming in for that last hit. Blink Dagger 7 seconds, but Burning to the run. They cannot kill him.
It's amazing how well positioned EG are, considering that these movements from DK are happening in invisibility. Of course, they read out of the map with the heroes missing. That is pretty likely, but the counterplays out of EG are really beautiful. They're using Arteezy as pretty much as bait. I don't even know if it's the plan or if they're just expecting that at some point maybe DK go for the kill instead of directly setting up for it, but they get a good trade once again.
Funny thing is, again, too, Arteezy caught out catching farm by using his ultimate. Like, he's just spamming that Eye of the Storm.
Speaking of ultimate, there's one deployed in the bottom lane, and Mushi actually using an invis rune, so
they can't stop it.
Oh, he actually attacked there, so he does break the invis, and this could expose him to a potential counterplay. It will come in, Zai and Universe.
Perfectly locked in position. They use Zai up into the air, so he couldn't attack straight away. The tower still does go the way of the Death Prophet, because the ultimate obviously killed it off after fortification wore off. But EG getting a counter kill, a tier 1 tower for a Death Prophet, they're not going to see that as a worthwhile trade.
Well, considering that the tower was bound to drop anyway, I guess they're happy to get at least a kill out of it. And Mushi there, he's got to be feeling a little upset about choosing to attack the tower at that point. He could have stayed outside the range and just used his ultimate. I don't know if there was any detection coming in from EG. Actually, okay, looks like Zai had sentries, so they might have killed him off anyway. But the tower does fall, and still, I feel like as far as overall map control goes, it's just DK getting more out of the map.
And they're going to kill PPD. He's out way too far. Locked between 3 heroes and the Sunstrike from, well, actually, he's not getting the kill. It was Weaver, in fact, who was able to get the last hit in there.
And it does indeed look like Burning is going to get either the BKB or the Deso first with that first Mithril Hammer. I don't think there's anything else in the courier for now. Ice gets himself a Void Stone, so actually transitioning into a Yules. I thought he was going to get the Orchid, but he might have just decided, you know what, guys, it's too late for an Orchid. I would have wanted to have that quite a bit ago, so I'll change my build.
Maybe he's really still worried about the jump in, or if you can get the timing right, evade the Ravage, or make the Ursa wait for you. And that's not what EG want. EG do not want to just hang around for an extra 2 or so seconds and think, hey, now we can attack it. That's not the way this works, because then Burning is going to shred you apart with his ultimate, the tree's going to keep people alive, and you're going to have Shadow Shaman running around also causing havoc for everybody. So EG, they need to jump in, they need to get quick kills, and these Yule Scepters are really going to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, another alternative item that they could have tried to go for here on Team DK could have been the Force Staffs, which are really great against Ursa, but for now they're going for the Yules, just like you said, with the goal of just delaying the fight. The longer the fight lasts, the better a chance they have. And it's kind of weird saying that against a really farmed Razor who will generally steal a lot of damage during the fight and then turn around on them. But I think Arteezy, even with his pretty tanky build, he cannot stay in the fight and rely on just being able to run around freely. He's got 7 armor and 1700 health, but he's up against a level 2 Death Prophet ultimate, Forge Spirits, the Shadow Shaman wards, as well as a Weaver who's soon to get pretty significant damage. It's a tall order. Looks like EG will be looking to push the top tower.
It's a double creep wave coming in, and now with a large amount of Scarabs, they're going to clean these guys up before the creep wave will be happy to attack onto the tower. And the tower's still alive with living armor. But at the same time, Zai's about to lose his Aegis Steam model, so this is what now. He'll have regeneration, he's at full life. Bottom lane, actually, you'll start teasing out of the fight. And with the Mana Serpent wards as well as the Prop ulti, the tier 2 tower will go down on the bottom lane.
A bit of a mind game, and he gets it!
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Delaying the attack on the wards while the other 2 EG heroes try to delay their attack. All of that last hit down. Top tier 1 tower will go down, and Mason actually TPing himself in towards the middle lane. Scouting out Zai. Zai's down here. There's another TP also on the way in, but Zai is a little bit too far away. Mason, going to be invaded. They have Tempting Blast and Meteorite, both airballing out, but Mason running back into the flames. So he burns a little bit from all of this, and somehow in 20 minutes in, we have a full lot of AoE now up on Death Prophet.
Yeah, well, it's looking really good for Mushi in this game. His farm is definitely where it should be. And when you look at the last hits for the 2 teams, like 3 of the 4 top farmers right now are on DK way ahead of the corresponding EG cores in this game. So if you're a DK fan, this game looks pretty good for you.
Oh yeah, mid lane, he's
dead. He's dead. Oh, maybe not. Leap down. The bottle charges are there, and Arteezy comes up the river. But the Sunstrike damage was enough, and there was no Ether Shock. The arrow's coming in for the fight too. Gonna miss. The Tornado in the meantime also killing up the Weaver, and Arteezy getting dual septed up. So the Weaver actually dying on the top tower, on the top lane where the tier 1 tower used to be.
Yeah, this is the combination that EG can keep pulling off until there's a BKB on burning, and even at that point, they can still do it if they do it really quickly. Of course, I'm talking about the Ravage into just Ursa mauling away at the Weaver, so good kill for EG. Also, not losing Mason there in the mid lane. They keep getting these small victories, but for EG, I'm looking for the big victories. When are they going to come? When are they going to get tier 2s? When are they going to take a big team fight that it just seems like DK are not giving them? The only advantage EG has is experience, and it's not a small one. It's 7,500 after all, but the way the game is going, levels aren't mattering right now because they're not getting to use their experience in any sort of reasonable fights.
Yeah. And one thing also which is severely missing is the fact that you don't have the Aghanim Scepter over on Razor just yet. Actually, I take that back. He now has enough money for it. I thought Yo Club might have been like going for an early BKB, but they're going to finish the Aghanims over on Razor, which means now pushing into buildings is a lot more effective for EG, but they must win the fight first.
I think the Axe Scepter here is the better choice.
He's going on the attack for his Meteorite, definitely class. Force Spirit Universe comes in with a mech and PPD. The Force Spirits are not attacking. They stop because of Untouchable. They are so damn slow. Ice gets picked off instead, and PPD is safe. Once again, Universe, the savior for EG.
Great arrow from Mason. He's celebrating that in the trees right here. So he's having a blast. Wanted to get up there as fast as possible with the leap to shoot the arrow. Did get stuck, but easily worth it here, getting an Invoker kill. So again, another small victory for EG. They're starting to build up slowly, but where do they go from here? I'm looking at BKBs as the next choice, at least for the Ursa for EG, so he can go in and expect to be able to fight. But even at that point, Treant Protector is a great counter to Ursa. First of all, Ursa has a lot of fast attacks, but you can counter a lot of the damage with living armor on the target. And Overgrowth will go through his BKB, so it's not even certain that Zai will be able to bring down a target should he get in correctly in these fights if Lanham is in the right position.
Yeah. We've got double vision coming up from both these teams. So Treant Protector as well as Arteezy are the 2 gem carriers for this game. But Arteezy, a man with 1900 line points and 417 movement speed, rather difficult to kill him off, not to mention his 8 armor. So they're going to be able to see that Weaver, the Treant, the Shadow Shaman. Now Shadow Shaman does need to afford his Blink Dagger, but he already did. He's got 560 gold bonus as well. So MMY is the way to initiate in nicely. But Mushi as well as MMY, like their pushing power is great when you're pushing towers outside the base, but obviously pushing high ground is a whole different affair, and they're going to need a lot more of an advantage before they can do such a thing. But MMY, TP's top tower, and it looks like DK preparing to fight. A blink in, and there goes the circle, this one over the wall, trapping Universe, gets a Ravage off, MMY, the arrow will kill him off from Mirana, Blood strikes on the way in, Arteezy being pushed back, he will go down, the Mason, huge amount of damage, the gems on the deck, burning, Kind Lances at the very last moment, they're on the run. run up, but the Moonlight Shadow giving him protection. Ice has to drop his TP scroll to get that gem out of safety, but now Mushi, he lets the ulti rip, he sees Universe, the arrow connects on Burning, and now there will be support. Mushi's ulti will get the kill. Mason, run of Alwyn, he can't leave himself away, Silence as well, he can't move anywhere. Mushi with a double kill. He opens up the doors and lets EG in.
You were talking about that tanky Razor, right? Ice is like, who's tanky? He pretty much one-shot Arteezy with the combo there. So what's great about the Acceptor is, of course, their ability to take the fights. And I thought maybe he doesn't need the BKB yet because there's actually not that much disable on DK. I mean, sure, there is the Shadow Shaman with a bit of control, but if they can kite around that or catch him in the Ravage like they did, Razor might be fine. If you get caught by that combo from Ice, you just drop.
Look at actually what DK is doing. They're putting both the gems back on the courier. They're sending him both home right now. They don't want to run the risk of giving the gem back over to EG because then it causes too many problems for their invis place. So what they do in the meantime is just bring the gem out when they feel like doing some deep warding. And the rest of the time, PPD, Shackles, Sunstrike, it won't be enough damage, or maybe it will be with the blink down. Lanham, what's he trying to do? He's trying to protect him or can't get in range for the lead seat. MMY must be protected now, and Zai, blink dagger, 1 second, he can jump. Oh, now he jumps! It's a double clap and the dust off. Lanham forced to use his ult, and support's coming in from DK. EG have to back themselves up right now. The lead seat on Zai, the Hex, cancels the TP out. 2 seconds, they got to keep that blink dagger on cooldown. PPD cannot help him. He has to let Zai die. TP's not going to happen. Yule Scepter from DK. Gets the Sans as well on PPD. There's nothing he can do to respond to this apart from death.
Very nice series of execution here from DK, just counterplaying every single move from EG. Immediate overgrowth. He got so he had overpower on. He got one swing off before he got overgrowth there. So quick on the fingers there, Lanham. Very great play. So now the small engages that we've seen EG winning, they're starting to lose now. And if they begin to lose these, I think they start losing full control of the map. And they simply can't afford to take these fights. But on the other hand, the fights they can't afford to take, I think DK are just avoiding them on purpose. They're not giving them any sort of space to look for what they want. Now the third Roshan has spawned, and that could be an opening for EG to perhaps force a fight, because maybe DK don't want to give the cheese Roshan away, but I mean, even then, the problem is, let's imagine EG gets the Roche with Aegis and Cheese. We still haven't really seen them being able to even come close to a tier 2 for the last 10 minutes. They just don't seem to have a grip on the map.
Every time they look for an opening, DK just pull themselves back a little bit.
That's a big item for Burning.
What do we manage to...
That's a big item for Burning. So now he's got the 2 core items I was expecting, perhaps in the opposite order of what I was thinking. He is scary in these fights. He can pretty much move around exactly as he pleases.
There's even more to that.
He got it with perfect timing as well, right when the Roche fight is about to begin. I think DK want to try to take this one.
They could try and contest it, but not fully in position for it just yet. More Chris down that left more. He actually blocks a bit outside. Finish the job. Arteezy, the cheese on the deck, picked up there. Burning. Running in with the BKB. The arrow has to be soaked up by that BKB as well. The Zai jumps out. Invoker Yules left himself up into the air, evading the battle, and now the guts will come in from Universe, and it's EG who are getting the upper hand here. Mushi will back up. They got Aegis Cheese. They mop up the Mass Serpent Wards as well. And EG, they, for the first time, get a very, very clean fight their way.
Yeah, DK weren't in position to go for that at that point, actually. They were kind of forced to go in, and I thought they were going to go for it, but the heroes weren't at the right place at the right time, so Burning tried to open it on his own. I mean, of course he doesn't die because he pops the BKB, but EG just kite him. They leap away the Mirana. At the same time, Roche is going down very quickly to the Ursa. They get the Roche, and even a bonus kill on Ice. At the moment Roshan dies, I think DK cannot try to commit into that because they just know the threat of Ravage is there constantly, and Universe was just biding his time, waiting off pretty much on the offside of the fight, and yeah, EG gets it for free. Now they need to use it.
Yes.
They really need to use it.
But they have almost everything up apart from Moonlight Shadow. So they have everything that could help them win the fights.
Did we call the Shivas on Mushi, by the way?
Just quickly before, but good to reiterate.
Yeah, so that's another big item, of course, coming the way of DK. Ice did pick up a Blink Dagger a while ago. Haven't really seen him using it too much.
They're coming in. They see Arteezy and PPD, however. So they're not sure about this. But EG are really flash farming. They just managed to flash farm up the BKB there for Arteezy to go with that Aghanim Scepter of his. Because they just kept stacking up the camps and then just mass farming.
It's a really good pickup for EG at this point. I'm imagining the Ursa... Actually, no. Zai is not even going for a BKB with that ultimate orb of his. I'm imagining perhaps it's... What does he want here? Does he want Manta to break the overgrowth, or does he want the Scythe as in the opener? It might be the Scythe, but generally on Ursa, we don't see players picking up Scythe. They usually
we don't
prefer
generally
the
see him in
Abyssal.
4th position either.
No, I mean,
like if you're playing a core
the
Ursa,
rules don't really apply in this game.
if you're playing a core Ursa, then yeah, you want to get the Abyssal Blade because you're meant to be the big damage of the big controller. But right now, he knows if he uses Abyssal Blade, if he gets caught by Overgrowth, he can't do anything with it. So maybe just having the side device is a better option. They need some level of control over Burning, especially considering Burning didn't go for the Lincoln Sphere. You think you might be right, the side device is a better way of controlling up the Weaver. The other option is he just says, I'm going full tank and picks up Skadi, but that would be crazy.
Kind of underwhelming. I think Skadi and Lincolns would definitely be the last two choices he's going for with this. I'm going to be proven wrong in a moment. But
we'll let the players decide, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
How's
what
PPD looking as well? He's still a long way off having his Aghanims. Mason is building towards his Maelstrom, but he still needs a little bit more. As we get a little bit of Sunstrike, they're using it to actually scout on top of the cliff to D-ward. Not a bad way of doing it.
At the same time, though, Mushi in that top lane starting to put some more pressure on the off lane. He's managed to rack up another 2,000 gold. He is getting filthy rich. Actually, he's on par with Arteezy's Razor. And I think once you reach that late game scenario, it's generally, in most cases, going to be more valuable to have a very farm Death Prophet. I mean, sure, Razor, once he gets the Axe Refresher, gets very, very scary, but it's only for a limited amount of time. Then that build kind of starts to fall off, whereas Death Prophet's level 3 ultimate with level 4 Witchcraft is very powerful for a big portion of the game. And he also will probably transition into some very useful items for the team. Maybe he gets a Hex, maybe he gets a Bloodstone or a Heart just to lead the charge, and with the amount of armor he has, health is actually going to be really good on the Death Prophet.
Man, I still can't believe 30 minutes in we don't have a level 10 Shadow Shaman.
That's true.
And we're not even looking at his second level Mass Serpent Wards yet. This is a real problem for him. This is a real problem for him. They need to correct this on the Shadow Shaman. And they're looking towards, at this point, just the last outer towers. Level 1 wards will still be able to help.
Ice going for the combo on PPD. He's going to land it. Oh my goodness.
He's going to get the right up in time for the Ravage. It comes up from Universe. They're looking for Ice, and they got him as well.
Bottom lane though, the base is falling apart. DK, they're already inside on the
Lanham can hold him out. He can actually just let the ulti go. Mushi, they're coming in close to him, but Zai being thrown down. There's Lanham finally letting the ulti go inside. He's being shredded apart by Mushi's ultimate. He has to use the G. Now the Barracks still aren't down yet. They can get rid of the boards. But we've got a Burning who is in no man's land back inside the dire side base. The tier 3 tower will go down. He should be very, very happy they still have their racks intact.
Great play again here by DK. They traded the Invoker. They traded 1-for-1 in kills. They get a tier 3, some damage on the barracks, force the glyph, force out the Ravage even. They might be able to go for high ground in a moment. What's the cooldown next? Is 70 against 100 on Ravage. So if they hit the perfect timing window, I think these bottom ranks are actually DKs, forcing out both. Well, they forced out the cheese. The Aegis is still on Arteezy. Yeah. So perhaps that is going to be an issue. And EG, they have to find a way of using this once again. And without Ravage, though, they're not going to find a fight. And there is the Scythe indeed being picked up here by Zai. So they do have some sort of single target opener. The question is, who do you Hex when you jump in?
At this point, it's got to be Weaver. It's got to be Weaver. Weaver's getting bigger as time goes by. I know you're still seeing a lot of problems being caused out by Ice with his initiation, as well as by Death Prophet as well. But what are you really supposed to do? Like, you do have the Ursa, you can find yourself the kills, but you can't rely on Ursa to do the damage when he's actually hexing in, because the potential for him to be controlled is just too high, because he doesn't have the BKB.
If they're committing all of their focus to
MMY.
he blinked the gush.
Yeah, he blinked before the gush could connect on him. He's in the tree line. Universe has nothing that can stop him here.
Oh, Zai almost got in range for the Hex there. That was less than half a second away. Pretty long cast range on that, but
so quick for him.
Managed to catch up. So quick. Very fast blink there.
And that was when EG wanted to fight. That was the Aegis Maul now getting fully reclaimed. So all the mana gets to come back the way of Arteezy.
And with the Boots of Travel on Arteezy, he's going to be on split push duty here, trying to give EG a comeback in terms of map control here by just pushing out the lanes and being able to TP into the fights. But what that effectively means is his actual teamfight impact is being delayed. When he ports in, a lot of his value is just move speed and attack speed from the Midas Boots of Travel build. So, you know, the whole net worth thing is a little bit misleading for Arteezy, because as far as actual fighting value goes, he is quite a bit below that 16.5k he's actually showing.
getting it even harder too, man. Mushi is a bad
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I love this from EG. They have to go for it. They
Radiant
finally
structures
managed to reach a
fortified.
tier 2. It's time to strike. Ravage is ready. Universe with both Blink and Force Staff sitting on the back lines. Hex is available on Zai.
Actually got DK to also burn their fortification.
They're gonna get this tower.
Mushi's forcing him back. They smoked up through the bottom, and they're gonna really try to fight backdoor regeneration here with Max.
ISS will just try to break the TPs here. Well, Universe will not get out!
He's in trouble, but Arteezy sticks around. The dust will pop. They see Ice. He's going to lose his life with what he just did there. Bottom racks in the meantime. The range is gone. Mushi, arrow from Mason, holding him in position, living armor. You'll set her up as well. They all need to do work with the mass servant boards, and now Ladder! He holds EG there. Mason's coming out. Mushi, he's almost out. He is out! On the bottom lane, the melee rack is still alive. That's the most important one there for
Radiant's middle
EG.
tower is under
The
attack.
fact that he also killed off Ice is a nice perk.
Great defensive play for EG. I was sure they were going to lose a full lane there. The Razor and Tidehunter were never there to defend, but they managed to hold on the back of a beautiful arrow from Mason, setting up for not a kill on Death Prophet, but at least forcing Mushi out of the base. So they do end up only losing their ranged barracks there, so great play. And also great play from DK going for it, right? They see the opening, they realize, okay, EG will have to go back now. ISS basically sacrifices himself to stop 2 TPs. And it's kind of a little bit reminiscent of the grand final from last year, perhaps?
With no profit.
$1 million euros?
That would be a very cheap item becoming massively expensive. Obviously signed by Arteezy, sold in the store, just like his player cards. 17-9 though is now on the board, and okay, EG are trying to force out the lanes again so they can get some level of advantage. Actually, look at what Mason is building into now. He's finished his BKB, didn't finish up full Mjolnir, so he's looking to try and survive during these engagements. Still gonna be very careful about the tree and protector, but as far as everything else goes, he's kind of okay. But what I'm worried about by building into the BKB is the fact that they cannot kill off Mushi. He actually has the heart coming out in the courier at the moment. He's going to have so many light points, so much armor as well because of the Shiva's card, the disable because of your scepter, he can be taken into safety, and then you've got your Rod of your Atos. So if you want to try and attack and you want to try and hold someone there, you've got this big tanky guy with a whole lot of spirits doing his work for him, and you can't do anything if you turn. 2.8k light points they have to get through on Mushi. They need to have this refresher on Razor. It's kind of like the only way.
This is where the
Universe!
Oh, wait.
Big Ravage up on top lane. Shadow Shaman's already down. Let him have to let the ulti go. And that's just so they can buy some
Bottom
space.
lane,
But
Mushi.
He's coming again. Mason needs to hold him out. He's got the creep wave with him. Fortification is available this time for EG. Mason moving to the side, throwing down the arrow. Zai being pushed back by the Deathling Plus. Fortification has been used, and Zai able to hide the tree line. 2 seconds until late. Universe back on the front lines. Mushi open. 100 life points on the rack. They're going to bring it down now. The counter's going to be there. Mushi TPing out. They have a stun. They have anything. Nothing is there. They get 2 kills. One on the Shadow Shaman before, and then the Invoker on the bottom lane, but Mushi takes the bottom racks and gets away with it.
Meanwhile, Arteezy has been trying to apply a bit of pressure in the mid lane. He actually has the gold for a side of his own if he wants to get that right now, which might be the call. They need so much control now to deal with DK, since I actually don't even know if the refresher is going to be enough. I think it's more about just controlling the fight for so long that they can take out the other heroes and then end with taking down Mushi. But the reason who do you actually hex is, well, if they hex the Weaver with the Earth aside, they give so much space to Mushi in the fights. With Ice also having a hex, they can kind of...
They got Scatter. The burning bug space to come in. Now Roshan almost on the sideline. The Butterfield's keeping burning out and looks like he's not going to come in. The draw is available to fight. Arteezy also put his hand of Midas back over on the courier so he could grab the Aegis, the model, and Zai will take the cheese. So that's our 4th Roshan in 37 minutes.
4th consecutive Roshan for EG. And they've taken 1 tier 2 with it.
Hey, at least
that is how hard this game is for them right now.
The Roshan actually gives them an advantage of 150 gold. It's huge, man. But their experience is still hilarious. For everything that's happening on this map, the experience graph as well as the gold graphs, they kind of mean nothing anymore. Everything just comes down to the key items you got during the fight, and if you can bring down the cores of either line. And in this case, is can you kill off the Weaver and can you kill off the Crop?
Yeah, can you kill off Mason in a moment is also another question here. MMY is looking for it, but Mason actually will back off at the right time here, so not finding that gank.
Bottom lane, they found Burning. There's his hack coming in. Is Zai going to work? And Burning getting shredded. He can time lapse and BKB himself away. Running himself up. Universe, 4-star. He's still under the protection of BKB, so he's going to be okay. He will up on the top lane. Mason leaps away on 80 life points, but the last attack comes in with the Shadow Shaman and Lanham going to work. Arteezy, that ultimate hurts a hell of a lot there from Mushi. But they do get the kill over on Mason, and Burning is able to survive.
Burning by the skin of his teeth getting out there. This is where I think, you know, an Abyssal on Zai instead of the Hex. They want the Hex to open with, but maybe with an Abyssal in there.
Zai, they got on MMY. He dropped down the Mad Circle, just looking to force down the tower. Now it's just going to become food for the Ursa as well. In fact, they gave all of it over to Zai. But they're going to have to get like an AC over on this Ursa at the moment.
Oh, and again, Ice with the snipe combo. Finding PPV, Sunstrike into Meteor as well as the Deafening Blast. Easy kill for the Invoker here. Didn't even need to use the Hex. Holding on to that in that kill.
Maybe we have to add into the extra, like I was saying Eva as well as Mushi before, but now maybe we have to add Ice into this mix.
That's the thing that's really strange about this game when you look at the actual experience, because when you look at the distribution of levels on the Radiant side, you see 2 very low level supports, but the 3 other heroes are so far up and very, very much amongst the top here in the game. So yes, they're 12,000 behind, but I think at this point for DK, it's not about whether your Shadow Shaman is level 11 or level 14. I don't think that's the deal breaker here. It's the fact that your 3 cores all have their level 3 ultimates. They have great farm on all of them. And arguably Treant it's okay that he's level 12. This hero is he's not built to be level 12.
He's not meant to be anything else. He's almost like the
bottom lane. Ice is trying for it again. Great damage onto Universe here. Will force that out though. Is there going to be a Sunstrike? Looks like there isn't. Universe will get back to base.
He's got Invoke off cooldown now.
Damn, he's putting a lot of pressure though on these lanes.
He is.
He keeps going for the solo kills and forcing rotation.
And he's just doing the bottom lane solo. Like, he moves back and then lets his Forge Spirits do the pushing work while he farms up the Radiant jungle. It's really, really efficient coming out here from Ice. And like, what is EG meant to do? They try and jump out and get a 4-man, 5-man to deal with their own jungle right now, and they can't because of the pressure on the bottom lane. You don't lose a Rax for it, but if you get one hero sniped off, then DK like, hey, we got 5v4, we're good to go.
So, here's what I'm wondering at this point. We've come this far in the game now, 40 minutes in. We were talking about how EG probably wanted to end the game early, but now we're, or not early, but around the mid-game with a kind of draft.
They're coming, man. You just finished a BKB over on Zai. You're going to be looking to smoke gank up somebody, and I think they're just coming for the Invoker.
I think Ice feels this coming right now. There's too many heroes missing on the map, or maybe they just try the single hero bait again. They actually do.
Oh, Mason, he's going to be attacked here, but this also means you got Scythe, you got Blink, it's all on cooldown, and they know they can try and
kill the
Hex. They've got to be time. Ice won't get himself out of this one. He will be able to evade the arrow. You'll Scepter up, 5 seconds until Blink, and he goes Invis. Living Armor's protecting him, but they do have the extra vision. He's coming in from the gem on the Enchantress. They bring down the Invoker. But up on top lane, Arteezy is trying to one-man 4. Ravage from Universe into Mushi and Lanham. Mushi's ultimate is still going to work, but Arteezy, he's going to go down. It's only the Aegis Immortal, however, and Mushi's ultimate has got another third of his duration left. They want to keep pushing in this one. Arrow's on cooldown. Can they find the retreating DK lineup? Lanham is high, and Mushi is running. Still to the cover of nature's guides, but they both are. They need to have the Enchantress with them or else they cannot find them, and he's too far away. And look at Burning. He's just headed straight down. He's going to finish up a butterfly, and he's going to be good to go soon.
You know what? I'm starting to yeah, great. I'm starting to wonder whether EG want to just take this very, very late at this point. So if they had the timing window planned with their strategy of winning the game at 20 minutes, this one could go for more than an hour. It's very realistic at this point. Yeah. And then you look over at DK lineup where we've been talking a lot about how powerful Weaver is in this game, but with with EG itemizing 2 hexes, with Ursa getting farm, we're gonna have a Mirana getting somewhere as well. We haven't talked too much about Mason, but he's got decent farm and he's starting to get more and more items. And a Racer who's almost 6 slotted. Yeah. Maybe EG are actually able to take this in the super late game once Death Prophet will fall off.
Because they see themselves as 4 cores basically.
Yeah, and on the Radiant side, Weaver will be strong in late game. Invoker's a very strong late gamer too, but Death Prophet getting deceptively weak. You saw how long it took him to take down Arteezy, and that's before Arteezy has the Kiras. So Death Prophet, I would like to say, generally peaks from around minute 15 to minute 45, and we're getting past that point now when Mushi's ultimate is just going to fall off quite a bit here, and maybe EG can actually take advantage of it if they don't lose more than 1 lane.
I'm actually wondering too what's going to happen. Like we're talking about 4 cores. What happens when PPD finishes up his Aghanim Scepter? In late game when you're pumping out that much pure damage, it may be just enough to rip through this DK lineup. Now, London's doing a little bit of scouting inside the Dire side jungle. He's going to see Universe continuously farming up. We'll also scout the fact that Refresher Orb is fully over on the Tidehunter. So they've actually got 2 Ravagers in 35 seconds to deal with.
Their late game is actually really scary. And I gave DK's lineup a lot of credit for how they were probably going to win if they got past the early problems. But the fact remains, they only took 1 lane. And in a 45-minute game with this much farm on the table, it doesn't really matter that you've lost a lane of rack. Sure, it's a little bit of pressure going your way, but you can easily hold on. The second lane is going to be a big problem, but the way the game is going right now, I just don't see DK getting it. They haven't even been close to fighting at Roshan yet. And it's just going to be another Aegis and Cheese going EG's way soon if they don't go for it.
Full AC is done all over on Arteezy. Now, Lanham, he's a long way up here, but Mason has no vision of him. So he's hiding in the tree line. Zai is also here, and initially it's Zai who's carrying the gem now. If he walks up just a little bit further on that top lane, he would see Lanham, but they're looking for somebody else, and they may get the big one. Mushi's inside the tree line. He has TP, Your Scepter, so he shouldn't be too difficult to get himself away to safety if they do go on him. And in fact, there you go. He's already now just TPing himself out. As
but you see,
might force top.
EG are starting to get the intimidation factor on the map right now. DK are respecting them a lot and backing off here instead of putting a lot of pressure there. As they did 10 or 15 minutes ago.
EG's backing up. Remember, it's 1 minute until we have Roshan up. And that's probably going to be the keyest thing here for EG to secure. Let DK jump themselves around the map, try and find their initiations. Don't let Arteezy die in middle lane. Neither initiating lineup, and he actually breaks free. He breaks free of the overgrowth right now. Mushi ultimate, the arrow will connect. They're going to come on him, and they've locked him in. He has to use this to Ravage. They connect on Burning. Secondary Ravage before Mushi gets the deck, and Burning goes down. Arteezy ulti will kill him off. They've got 2. Buyback comes in. Burning can't let him come back in the fight. Arteezy though, the cheese will go on him. The Sunstrike almost killing off Mason, but they're chasing down Burning. They've got the vision, and they've almost got him. Misses. Where is the attack? He cannot reach him. The plasma field, the living armor, keeping Burning alive. The attack up the hill again from Arteezy. It is just not enough. The bug is difficult to kill, and he is almost, and he is. Is he away to safety? There's no TP scroll on Burning, so he has to run himself away, and he will free himself from the EG chase. And into the tree line where the living armor is bringing him up.
I can feel the breath of relief from Burning out here, actually. He got away from that. So 2 Ravages from EG. They managed to get 2 kills and get some more pressure out on the map. I think this is okay. They did have to use
They had double buybacks as well. Those buyback came out from Ice as well as from Burning during that
Burning,
engagement.
actually, you're right. He bought back and almost
Oh,
died.
Burning!
Oh my god!
Oh, it's...
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Mistakes are made! And Burning is down for almost 2 minutes. It may as well be an eternity in this game. The bottom lane is being forced out right now. Bottom is Universe on the run. He's being hit so hard. He's away to safety. But it's the tier 2 tower on the top lane that Arteezy is going to take out.
As well.
Lanham! Shredded! They got Ice. He's blinked himself up into the dire bait, in fact, but it's top lane. Arteezy is there. His Aghanim's ultimate is tearing the tier 3 tower apart. And it's going to go to the melee racks as well. Plasmafield's trying to pick up the wave. MMY jumps up. No Mass Serpent War. 6 seconds still on cooldown. And EG should back themselves up. I know they do still have the Weaver down, but the big man is going to spawn up in just over a minute, and they must get their map control back again.
Roshan is going to be huge right now. The 4 previous ones haven't mattered as much. I would almost say this next Roshan matters more than the previous 4 combined almost for EG at this point. And as well for DK, they cannot give this one away. Then I think it's at least 1 lane, if not 2 lanes of racks that EG will need.
They're coming with no Ravage.
Arteezy's ultimate ready again.
It's still 17 seconds left on that Ravage from Universe.
He's going to rotate top though.
Yeah, they're looking to finish off the melee racks. He was just trying to push the middle lane in and then turn on the Eye of the Storm. No fortification available here for DK and Mason with the BKB. Well, maybe MMY. Look at the he's taking the 4-star back. Mushi next up. He couldn't do much more. Universe Ravage will hit. He actually kills on the Shadow Shaman. The buyback comes out from him. The melee racks is gone. Zaya, they're going to keep fighting Mushi. He's currently tethered. He's tethered to Arteezy. He doesn't want to be part of this. You'll set her up. The ultimate from Lanham. Mushi needs to get back and he can't. He's down. EG have taken out the top melee racks. It's just a trade-off though for the bottom racks and Weaver. 5 seconds and they back up, giving respect. Everyone is TPing out. Remember, Roshan is now up and Weaver is also alive again.
And they have the second Ravage still. Universe only used 1 and then immediately using the Refresher Orb to get it ready here and start the Refresher Orb cooldown to make it start dropping here. This is a very tense moment. DK probably felt like they had pretty good control of the game, especially once Burning picked up the Lincoln Sphere as well as the Butterfly. he would have probably felt pretty safe, right? So there's 2 hexes. They have to break them with the first hex, and then the second one will go through. And then if he doesn't die, he BKBs and time lapses. But even with that amount of defensive items, he's still being controlled by EG.
They're trying this again. They could be so quick about this. DK are not almost there. Lanham's moving around the back of Mason. The bots will come in, and it scouts out Zai in Universe. And DK, they have their entire lineup here. Mason leaps away from Lanham, and now, well, the plasma field, they'll see very quickly. Tree Protector is close, but Roshan is down. Aegis steamrolled into the hands of the Tidehunter. Zai doesn't want anything of this. He lets Arteezy have the cheese because Zai is about to finish up his full heart, and Arteezy also. This guy's got 7,000 gold. He's got so much money.
Yeah, getting a refresh roll on Arteezy now I think would be really good. Double Hex, double BKB, and of course the double Eye of the Storm is probably the best item he can get right now, unless if he feels like he needs to become more of a physical damage dealer from another source than his ultimate, which is... The thing about the ultimate is it's not a reliable source of damage because it will always hit the lowest HP target. So if you want to choose your target, you pretty much have to go for some different type of damage item, but it looks like it is indeed going to be the refresher. Immense base pushing power coming out from the Razor at that point. And EG are just looking like they're in complete control of this game.
They might have a little bit more trouble killing off Mushi now. He's got a Ghost Scepter to back him up as well. So Mushi's just trying to make himself unkillable and get a full duration ultimate off. But I really don't think EG care. Like, if they need to, they can just get someone else to buy up maybe a Diffusal Blade, because the money is just rolling through. And Arteezy, he is starting that refresher off. The Perseverance is over on the Courier right now.
Not sure why he isn't buying it, actually.
Yeah, I think it's just because he's holding onto the cheese. But he could drop that at any point and take the refresher. Ice looking for a snipe off. He'll see Arteezy in the mid, but no one is walking up into the Dire jungle at the moment.
Yeah, I think DK realized what position they're in right now. They want to try and force the fight in the top lane, but at the same time, they really don't. There's double Ravage on Universe as well as the Aegis, so it's going to be very difficult. And EG just got a tower for free, basically.
Zai with the creep wave as well coming in through the bottom. I don't know about you, man, but if I was DK, I would be worried about Ursa actually soloing my racks at this point. Because he's still doing so much damage. You look at how much health he's got behind him. He's got 3.6k life points over on that Ursa. You think about getting through the Razor too, you got 2.7k, and then you're still going to take into account like your unstable current into all of this too. And then you got Tidehunter who's taking away your damage, he's getting great control out. He can almost fire another item shortly too. I don't know if he's considering finishing up a Shiva's Guard. If he wants to be selling 4-star for something else. But they're chasing down Ice. He got gushed up so he can't blink, but the attack won't come in time. He goes invis, he does still have his blink up, and they can see him though. The Hex is there, he refused to blink himself out. And now the jungle Universe is body blocking or attempting. Will commit the Ravage, and look at the damage from the Ursa. Invoker is torn a new one, and EG may just finish up this top rank. And Burning is desperately trying to add some pressure down the middle lane to stop this push from coming. But EG, they're going to push him through the top, see if they can just take out another tower. They can get a rank, just let the creep wave come in.
The trade.
It's going to be quick though.
Like DK they're going all in. They TP'd Mushi mid. They don't have a second. They don't have a plan B.
They're going to go for T4s. They're coming back. They're coming back right now. They cannot let this base race happen. PPD, the first one to TP himself in, and EG, they are taking no chances here in the winners bracket final.
Semi-final.
Semi-final. Close. Getting ahead of himself.
Well, if they continue playing like this, they could be in the winners bracket final. At least this has been a great performance from them in this game. I mean, to be fair, we were worried, but they've just silenced us completely.
He could be in real trouble right now. Moonlight Shadow, he's walked straight up next to him. It's almost worth a straight Ravage, but Arteezy comes in for the Hex. The link is on, and Mushi, are they going to commit Ravage? He's running himself away, but 140, 168 points, 198. There's too much. They can actually have enough damage in Arteezy to kill a Mushi. The Ghost Scepter protecting him quickly. Can he evade? He can't silence. You're sending the Ursa up Mushi. 200 life points. He's juking it around. He's going to TP! He's out!
Oh my god!
Amazing!
Unbelievable!
This man is on the most wanted list in EG! They couldn't capture him! A brilliant escape coming out from Croft. He looked dead to rights right there. But EG, they still are holding some level advantage here.
The two Ravages are on cooldown now. This could be the time to strike for DK if they realize. But now with the refresher all picked up here for Arteezy, he is pretty much reaching his peak now. If he is to replace the Guidance, it's in order to build for a late game in which Eye of the Storm is not his main damage source anymore. This is pretty much a fully stacked Razor build. Anything at this point, so apart from a new BKB, of course, but
don't worry, they have an extra call. They can take Aegis, they can take cheeses.
yeah.
Then again, actually, no, Zai. He's the man who's blinking, and he's the man that needs to hold on to that gem of his.
What are we looking at for Mason? So Mason has managed to build up a Mjolnir as well as 5,000 gold at this point, so we're going to see a Mirana probably transitioning into a Daedalus next, and then the physical damage from EG is going to be through the roof. Of course, the synergy between having Eye of the Storm drain all the armor of the targets and then having other heroes deal the physical damage. In a super late game situation, this Eye of the Storm is going to hit a lot of heroes a lot of times before they die. And then it's about how you bring them down. Who gets about 250 damage from clicking his ultimate button. And a Mirana building into a Daedalus probably. They're going to hit hard.
Well, right now, the hit was looking to come from EG on the bottom lane, but they know they don't have enough power right now when they try to defend the top lane, but Universe, he is a long way out right now, but he knows the Aegis is out in 30 seconds, so if he soaks up some damage here, it's going to be okay for him. He doesn't need to go. He can just accept the fact he'll die. Mason on the BKB, it went beforehand, so he's locked in position.
They didn't even get it.
No, they didn't.
Not even once, and they used the Death Prophet ultimate. As well as the Overgrowth. This is a big loss to DK, and they need to get the hell out of it.
Yeah, they're backing out. Mushi actually BT'd himself in, but the crop ulti is down for a minute and a bit, but it's okay. Roshan potential swarm time is still 2 minutes away. And it really doesn't look like EG is wanting to push into the base until they know they can get a really good trade, which is difficult up against this lineup of DK, or they're able to take out all of DK and then just push up with no one to defend. It's literally the only two examples right now I can think from EG where they can really just force the issue.
And for DK, there's two things I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for what's Burning going for, right? He has a Midas and 6,500 gold when he uses that the next time. He's going to go sell the Midas, and we might see a full Daedalus. We might see him going for even a Rapier at this point. I don't know if they're feeling that desperate yet.
Zai in that middle lane, he's looking to jump over towards Ice. If he blinked himself over the tree lines, he might have actually had him, because Arteezy was directly behind him as well.
And now the other thing is, okay, so there's no doubt Burning is going to get a damage item, so they have the physical damage going into the late game. Where does Ice go on the Invoker? Does he go for physical damage so they have more? Because I don't know if this single, I wouldn't call it a single core Weaver, but single physical damage core Weaver is not going to be able to carry something in the game. And Mushi will definitely not be going physical damage on a Death Prophet.
He needs more range damage. I don't know if he wants to go Mjolnir, Desolator, Daedalus, any of these above.
I think he wants to defend
he
very
turned
soon
on the
because
heat.
this lane is falling apart.
That Arteezy, he's going for T4s. EG are trying to finish this right now, and DK, they must return. The push from Mushi on the bottom lane. He can't use until his ghost and revive TP. He can't. He's actually dying in the fountain right now to try and go back, but he's too tanky. Mushi is working against himself right now. It's GG. It's over. EG will take game number 1. There it is. He attempted it. Mushi was too good for himself at the last moment, and EG, it looked very, very shaky for them. They could hold the advantage of experience the entire way, but it didn't look like they had it in the bag. But they do come back. They do come back, and they take game number 1. Creating this awesome crowd here in Seattle. It's the home ground advantage, or the home team really. And DK,